Hello everybody, I'm Clay Corbin. I'm the intern at the LaRue County Extension Office. We're here in Buffalo today at the Brooks Farm, and we'll be starting out our series on forage production. And today we'll be starting by looking at soil fertility and taking some samples. So as we take our soil samples, we're going to need a few things. Starting out, to actually get the soil up out of the ground, we're going to need a probe. And so here's our probe right here. This is what you're going to see most commonly. And you can actually, if you need to, come into the extension office and borrow this for free and take your soil samples and bring it back. Now, there is some other options. So we got this bucket and auger situation right here that you'll need a drill for. And this is actually not available at the office, but we'll take this and drill into the ground with it. And so we'll see more about those here in a second when we're actually taking our samples. And we'll also need a bucket just to collect our samples in. And once we're done collecting our samples, we're going to mix it, which we'll see. We need to get that all conglomerated together and to a fine powder. And then our final step is we're going to need a bag. And we'll get these at the extension office. And here, if you see here, it's got a place for your name and your field identification. And now whatever you name your field, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But you just need to make sure you remember that name and what field that name belongs to. And so that's everything we're going to need. It's not very complicated, and we're going to get into taking our samples. Now that we're taking our soil samples, we need to make sure that we're taking them correctly. And so when we go to take our samples, we need to make sure that the field we're representing is no bigger than 20 acres, and that when we take our samples, well, we avoid areas that are going to be outliers, that aren't going to be representative of the whole. So we're not going and picking only the best spots, and we're not going and picking only the worst spots, but we are cutting out the outliers, such as waterways, places that are commonly flooded, or feeding areas, maybe where you had a hay ring or something of the sorts like that, or a waterer. And when we're taking these, we need to make sure that we get at least 10. No matter the size, we need to get at least 10 so we can make sure we're able to test it correctly. Really, the more samples you can get, the better representation you're going to get of your field. So with that said, we'll just go on to using this probe right here. And all we're going to do is just stick this into the ground like this, and we're going to try to get 4 to 6 inches. Anytime we're in a no-tilled area, we're going to get 4 to 6 inches because we're just trying to capture the topsoil here, because that's where most of our fertility use is going to be coming from. And so that's what we're going to need to be putting back in. All right, so now we've got our samples together all in the bucket right here, and we're going to make sure we mix these up good to prepare to put in the bag and be sent off to the laboratory. So I'm going to mix these together, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about consistency. All right, so now we've got all our samples mixed together here, and we've got that as close to a little sandy texture as we can get, so we know that it's all mixed in together where we're going to get a good representation of our field. And so now that we got all that mixed together, here's this little bag we were talking about earlier, and we're going to make sure to fill up this bag. We need about 2 cups of the soil in here, and like I said, this is just for one field, and so you're going to have a collection of samples put together from one field. Hopefully you've done at least 10, and you know, maybe you've done more, which is a good thing. And we're just going to reinstate this. We're going to put our name right here. We're going to put Billy Bob Joe right here, and then our field name right here. And so like I said earlier, make sure you know what that field is and what it's called. And then this down here is going to be done by your extension office. So you just leave this alone, bring it into your extension office. If you're from LaRue County, you go to LaRue County. And so that finishes up our soil sample taking.